The flag's back to where it should be. That's good. I didn't turn the wrong way this time.
I'm going to turn the meeting over to Patrick for a public hearing on the adoption of the revised floodplain ordinance.
Sure, thank you. As the board may recall, there had been a proposed draft floodplain ordinance that primarily came from the county, correct, Frank? For the most part. The Planning Commission has reviewed it. So it's been advertised for a public hearing this evening. It has been advertised pursuant to the MPC and the Township zoning ordinance. So with that, we'll open the public hearing. Public hearing is open. And again, this is an ordinance, floodplain management ordinance. It provides for the job description of the floodplain administrator, which by way of the ordinance, the zoning officer will be appointed. It requires permits and approvals with respect to any construction within an identified floodplain area. It provides for specific requirements and restrictions with respect to what can and cannot be and how it should be constructed within the floodplain area. And it also provides for certain exemptions for certain improvements within a floodplain area and provides for enforcement and penalties in the event of a violation of the ordinance. Are there any questions or comments from the board at this time? Seeing none, are there any questions or comments from the public? Seeing none, we can close the public hearing. Public hearing is closed. And if the board wanted to entertain a motion, this Township of South Londonderry ordinance number 220, it would be number 220.
And later on, we can.
Oh, you don't want to do it now? Yeah,
Oh, we can do it.
whenever you want, whenever you want.
Might as well take care of it now if it's appropriate.
I'll make a motion to approve the floodplain ordinance number 220.
I'll second that motion. A second.
You want me? Motion made in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. You can call.
Okay. Close the public hearing.
Public hearing was closed. Yep.
Yeah, so we're back in the supervisor session.
Do I have a motion for approval of the May 12th Board of
Motion to
Supervisors?
approve.
I'll second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. The May 27th workshop meeting was canceled due to lack of business to be discussed. Is there a motion for the bill and payroll list 1020 and 1120?
Motion to approve bill and payroll 1020 and 1120.
I'll second. Is there any discussion? Jane?
What about public input?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's finish the
We have a
motion
motion
here.
on the floor, yeah.
Yeah, we have a motion on the floor. Been moved in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Public input. I don't have the sheet, but
I just wanted to know what the status of the riparian buffer is in the park and the fire department. Is that completed?
I'll turn it over to John.
I was out today is Tuesday, right? I was out yesterday, and met with Josh Schwartz from Arch Wild, and they were finishing up the larger trees that are probably about 8 years old, I would say, and they are along the walking path. And in about 5 wonderful years, we're gonna finally have some shade over there. In addition, they were out there today finishing up that planting, and then they will also start putting in the trees with tubes along the creek on the south end of the Campbelltown Park, and then over behind the cell tower, behind the fire company in those areas. Very similar to along the north end of the park by 322. Those types of trees and plantings over there. So the goal was to get it done this week. However, due to the heat, they decided to bump that back early next week now. But they're hoping that that will be finished at that point in time. So it's I've actually heard quite a bit of positive feedback while I was over there walking along and talking to the residents. And over the weekend, I talked to several residents too on that. So.
And is Arch Wild going to maintain that for us?
No, our Highway Works team will be doing that, and
Are they going to be trained?
so I had a letter just today from the engineer that they provided some details for that item to make sure that they're maintained. And in addition, one of the concerns I have was with the hot temperatures is the watering of that. So we have a 600 gallon tank that they will be utilizing also then, depending on the weather, to make sure that we can give them their drinks so that they have a better survival rate.
Because there's been a lot of natural areas that haven't been maintained because the township people apparently don't have a clue as what to do with it, so they just mow it, and then the natural area is no longer a natural area.
Because of grant funding, we have some requirements on that. So again, I was going back to get the guidelines so that we could make sure that we follow everything. There will be some follow-ups on this planting, so we have it under control.
Okay, and are you gonna go back and redo all the areas that were in the future, that were natural areas, like on
No,
Woodlawn and,
no, at this point in time, we have everything that we can do right now, just trying to keep all the grass cutting and the repairing it and then keeping that going, and now we're doing road work. You'll hear some other things right now, so.
because there was a gentleman that used to be part of the EAC that took care of planting all those areas, and now it's like all his work was wasted.
Now they're left to be natural.
They're not natural, they're weeds.
If you have something else to comment, John, if not, I'll move on. We've kind of gone through this before.
And I just have one other question
Sure.
in relation to the Campbelltown Park. I'm just wondering where the price came that we paid for that land, because I have the deed that I found at the courthouse, and it said the grantors, the Elder family, to the grantees, South Londonderry Township, in the sum of $1. So from the deed to the 550 or 660 or whatever was paid for that, why isn't that reflected on the transfer deed?
So there isn't anyone sitting in the front here other than the chief really that was involved in that purchase. So that question would be more appropriate to ask of the staff during the week when they could research those items for you.
What year was
The deed was made on June 30th of 2011. And then there was all this other, a lot of meetings relating to whether to buy it or not to buy it, or to get the grant, not to get the grant.
You're right to know. I actually was reading and trying to understand exactly what went on with that too. But again, it was, things were always changing on that, so.
But there's no other deed other than this one,
Right.
and it says $1, so where did the 550, 650, or whatever come from? Is there some way you can find that out?
It's almost 10 years. It's going to be interesting. You know how the challenge is. I have problems with just filing from 3 years ago at times that
But
are.
there's no other deed filed, so
Sure.
isn't this the document of record?
I'm sure it is, but I don't know what else went on with that situation when it was purchased. Again, I'm here, we own it. I'm not going back in history necessarily. It takes a lot of time. So I guess my question to you is, what's the end game on this? I mean.
I'm just trying to figure out where the money went and why that park is just sitting there unfinished. It doesn't have the pavilions, it doesn't have.
I think we know the reason why I done that. The pavilions, there was supposed to be fundraising going on, and that never materialized.
But it says that when you apply for a grant, it says, we will be able to provide matching grants, and that was the,
Correct, but it never materialized, it never happened. When we went through, when I read the right to know items that we gave you.
yeah, but we technically got the money, but then we just let it sit.
So I'm going to interrupt here. Faith's not here. I run the meeting a little bit different. This is public input, not public discussion. Be more than happy to have your answers. If you have a question like that in the future, to be put on the agenda if John isn't giving you the answers, but this really doesn't do any good, the bantering
Okay,
back
so
and
I'll
forth.
get this stuff on for the next month's agenda,
That would be great. Thank you.
and then I'll have a whole bunch of other documents that I can show you.
Thank you. Township Manager's report, John.
All right. The highway team's been busy crack sealing the streets in Londonderry Village and also South Thistledown. They've also begun, again, new term for me, but you'll understand what it is, gutter cutting along the Hinkle Road, and will continue to work on the road shoulders for improving stormwater drainage throughout the southern portion of the township. Again, gutter cutting, basically they're just cutting out the edges so the water has a place to run. So it's a technical term. We are still waiting for the dates of when the fiber mat and the micro surfacing will begin on Kingston Drive, Royal Road, Knight Court, and also Bradford Street. Those are the roads that was approved at a previous meeting for the road work to be done. We kind of talked about the phase 2 of the Campbelltown riparian buffer, so I'm not going to bore you again with that information. After much effort and coordination, streetlights are finally operational in the Flight Path Industrial Park, specifically along Taxi Way Road and also Landings Drive. I met with Mr. Musser here the other, Weaver. Chad, I talked to Musser, I talked to him this morning. There's also some streetlights on Piper, but they have some work to be done there. So that's coming, but at least we have some lighting there finally. I also want to put in a plug for the Central Pennsylvania Blood Bank, who will be holding a community blood drive at the Campbelltown Fire Company on Sunday, June 21st, between 8 to 2 o'clock. Check the South Londonderry Township website for a link or a phone number to schedule an appointment. There's also advertisements on the windows out there I put out there for anybody interested. And yes, the rumors are true. The vacant property of the old Brewster Ice Cream, where the hot wing venues that were located over there, was sold. And in speaking with the new owners, the plan is for a drive-in only Dunkin' Donuts. So there still has a lot of work to be done over there, but we'll wait for the approval to go through all the steps there on that. But stay tuned. Your favorite treats are coming. I figured there's a few Dunkin' Donut fans in the audience, but the rumor's already out there, so.
It's in my development, they should put a counter in, because I'm gonna be standing at the drive-thru window, I don't wanna get run over. Is that legal?
So I think bicycles are allowed to drive through, isn't it, Chief? Chief, bicycles are allowed, so there you go.
There you go.
That's it for the report.
Anything on zoning and code, Frank or John?
Just working with the township, Scott is handling the smaller zoning permits coming in, fences and sheds. I'm being called in for the more, I would say not the more complicated, but the bigger projects. Coordinating with Glenda and Nanette and John and Scott. So you're trying to get the permits issued as fast as we can.
Okay. Patrick, any comments other than agenda items?
Nope, just on the agenda.
Chief?
Okay. During the month of May, officers reported on 213 incidents. If anybody follows those numbers, it's still a little bit low for usual. Mainly, I believe that's because of pandemic restrictions and lack of traffic and so forth. Officers made 4 criminal arrests, issued 16 traffic citations, 3 non-traffic citations, and 3 traffic warnings. The only other 2 items I have are, we found out our new police car will be manufactured on July 20th, so we're looking early fall delivery, or in service probably. And also we were forced to cancel National Night Out for August 4th just due to the lack of planning ability and uncertainty about what's going to be going on in August. We're hoping for rescheduling in fall, maybe a scaled down event, but probably because of school being back in service, we can't have the full-blown event we're used to, so it's unfortunate. That's all I have.
Thank you. John, did you happen to get
Yes,
the line?
I did.
I forgot to print it.
Not a problem about it. So the library report was sent out and we were asked to read this. So the library board held a Zoom meeting on Tuesday, May 19th, the next meeting is scheduled on Tuesday, June the 16th. The Palmyra Library is now open for curbside pickup and returns. Hours are Monday and Tuesday, 1 p.m. to 7 p.m., Wednesday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., July and August, it'll be 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Patrons should call ahead if possible to request materials. Staff will pull items and have them ready upon arrival at curbside pickup. Patrons should show library ID. This phase should last approximately 1 month. The next phase will allow patrons back in the library wearing masks and using social distancing. For these people not comfortable with entering the building, curbside pickup will still be available. The library will return to normal operation once the OCL in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has deemed it safe. The library is currently making arrangements to have the parking lot repaved. Chelsea has received bids and is working with condominium co-occupant Walt Grudy, is that pronounced properly? The library board has an opening for a new member to replace Tracy Petrini, who recently resigned due to another obligation conflict. The annual book sale and wine event may both have to be canceled this year. The board will decide at the next meeting. The loss of revenue from these two major fundraisers could be devastating to the budget. This summer's summer learning program, Imagine Your Story, is for all ages. The packet can be picked up at curbside services or through the Summer Learning webpage. This was submitted by Kendra Hoffman, South Londonderry Township, Library Representative.
Thank you.
Library report.
Just have one comment. I served on the library board for a while, and it's a worthwhile endeavor. You learn a lot, especially about the folks that use the library, and it's worth it if anyone. I'm sure they're taking applications for that slot.
The Campbelltown and Lawn Fire Company reports were both emailed respectively. Palmyra Parks and Rec Commission, I was not feeling well, so I did not attend the meeting, but the minutes and report I got, the big news is obviously unfortunately all the summer camps and programs are canceled. Other than that, I don't think there's really any business discussed. Minutes for review, we have the Planning Commission, Historical, Fire Board, and Authority minutes are attached for our review. Official input, you got anything, Bill?
I do not.
Recognition of the Michael H. Wise Memorial Foundation. Chief?
At this time, I'm going to introduce Karen Wise, who is here representing the Michael H. Wise II Memorial Foundation. She has a presentation of an AED to the township. If board members could come forward and jump. Oh, okay. Karen's going to tell us a little bit about the Michael H. Wise Memorial Foundation.
You guys want to get up here for the picture op first, or you want to do that after the fact?
After. No, I meant after she talks about the foundation.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay. We have some pamphlets back there. Our son was a police officer in Reading, and he was killed in the line of duty in 2005. And we've been able to, with a lot of 2004. Oh, okay. I didn't prepare a speech, but it's
from the heart.
Yes, we have a foundation formed by the officers down there, family members, and we're able to raise money through golf outing, a run, and a motorcycle ride, and any donations we can earn throughout the year. And they have been able to, we've raised a lot of money, and it might be in our pamphlet. We have a little pamphlet back there if anybody's interested. We've given away a lot of AEDs, scholarships. We like to fund police departments, and fire departments, if they need something, you know, or firemen, or if somebody's had an illness, we have a certain stipend, we do that. The AED's been really great. That we started with, I used to work at Cedar Crest High School, and I realized our athletic director was running around the campus, and if the building was closed, they had no way to get any support as far as medical. And we actually saved 2 lives, so we're proud of that. And we don't really want to make a habit of that, but it's nice to have them when you need it. So if, I don't know, that's pretty much what we do. And we're proud of what we do, and we have a great group that, you know, keeps going. And it's a great thing, and you can help with these things. So we're proud to give it to you and your department.
They also donated the cabinet, which is mounted right inside the doors, and the township has gotten this made to display on the cabinet. It reads, donated by the Michael H. Wise II Memorial Foundation in memory of Michael H. Wise II, City of Reading PD, end of watch, June 5th, 2004.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Drink?
I'll get in there close. All right. Here we go. You guys are smiling great as you're looking at this funny face. There you go. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
For having us, yes.
Thank you.
If I can speak on behalf of the township, I'd like to thank you also. I'm the new manager here. I've only been here for 4.5 months, but when I came in here, I had a situation where I had a good buddy of mine pass away unexpectedly and in the office, and I didn't have an AED. We worked on it. Unfortunately, there was no hope. But when I came in here, it stuck with me about AEDs and the good that it does. So talked with the chief. He gave me the story of your son and the foundation that you guys certainly spearhead, and it just was a glove fit, so we really greatly appreciate this. Hopefully, this is just a preventative measure, that there's no need for that, but it's nice to know it's here, especially because we have Boy Scouts coming in here, we have other meetings, CCAs in here, and you just never know when you need it. So thank you so much for your generosity.
You're welcome, yes.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
Under new business, we already handled the floodplain ordinance, the police association memo of understanding. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I would second that. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Motion carries. Mount Gretna event application, drive-in movie. Who's got the lowdown?
You want me to go ahead? Or you want me to?
No, I'll talk about it. Like some other locations, the representatives of Gretna Theater had the idea to do a drive-in movie at Shays Field and Soldiers Field in Mount Gretna. They're going to limit the number of vehicles. You have to buy tickets ahead of time. The number they told me was 200, which seems manageable out there. I believe they intend to use Mount Gretna Fire personnel to park the cars. And really, I don't even anticipate having to put additional officers out there. It's going to be contained. We'll have 2 officers on duty already, so I don't see any issues with allowing this. I had suggested possibly closing Timber Road between Oak and Valley, because it's my understanding they wanted the screen on one side of the road and the cars on the other. So The gentleman said that the screen would be high enough that vehicles wouldn't interfere, but you still have headlights later on, so
Yeah,
I don't think it'd be too much of an imposition on people back there.
it's a pretty short drive around.
But whether they do that or not, I'm not sure.
It's on Friday evening, July the 10th.
Yeah,
Supposed to start at 8:30 from what we understand, so I guess you could get there early, so get your tickets. Provided we,
I was gonna say, John, you doing that?
presumptuous, aren't I? Sorry.
Any discussion?
No, I think it's a great idea. Good.
Is there a
That's a
motion?
good idea. I'll make a motion that we approve it.
I'll second that motion. Any comments?
Is it a fundraiser for the theater, or is that?
not necessarily, I think it's,
just a-
well, it could be, but
Curious.
just because they had to cancel so many events.
Yeah, it's a
I
shame.
think almost everything this summer,
Yeah.
from what I understand.
I was up there the other day, I didn't see anything, so.
What's the movie?
They didn't tell me that.
Yeah, that wasn't in the paperwork.
Contagion. No, I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. All right.
Been motion and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
I'll just, there's like a release waiver that I'll forward to you. I think it's covered in it's referenced in the application, but I'll send it to you as well.
Is this from you or police? Or is
Yeah,
it?
we used it before.
Oh, okay.
Item number 4 under new business, the municipal authority joint engineering review of the Mount Gretna sewer infrastructure. So this is related to the sewer system that's in the Mount Gretna area. For those of you who aren't familiar, it's a little unique out there that the sewer flow does not go to a sewer plant that is owned and operated by South Londonderry. It goes to the Mount Gretna sewer plant. And that portion, the lines that are out in the Mount Gretna, the Timbers and Timber Bridge area, are owned and operated by the township, not the municipal authority. This, to the best of my knowledge, it's the only area in the township that operates that way. And we're interested in exploring the idea of turning that over to the municipal authority for operation and maintenance, to make it more uniform with the remainder. So I guess we're looking at this to approve the study.
Joint study between the municipal authority engineer and the township engineer to be able to kind of see what the infrastructure might need. I know there's terracotta line out there, there's above ground cast iron, and there's a whole litany of other products probably if we really know, but that's kind of the start there to find out, well, what kind of shape is it in? The authority, to their good judgment, they're saying, listen, before we take this over, we'd like to understand and know what we're inheriting and what potential costs are on that. So this would be the first step, and there was a joint meeting, the authority and the township supervisors recently, and this was one of the topics that was brought out.
Is there, we don't have a cost associated with it, or just?
No, this was a motion just to kind of get things moving along here. I don't know if the authority agreed with it. Well, they hadn't agreed with it yet either. They really didn't have a motion on it, so.
I guess they were, now that I think about it, they were asking for a motion from the supervisors to consider, to ask the authority to consider it, and I think their plan was to respond with
Okay.
that request. So is there any discussion or a motion related to that?
So we wanna make a motion that they,
Initiate a joint engineer review with the municipal authority on the Mount Gretna sewer infrastructure. How's that?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.
John, do you want me to have our environmental engineer give you a call just to talk about anything
Well,
at this point?
I guess the next step is for the authority to figure out what they want to do, if they do want to go through that, and then we can kind of go back to figure out who that is.
Okay.
If I can ask, who would that be, who's your environmental one?
Brian Kaufman is the lead, yeah. So he would be the person that could give you some direction on what to think about from the township's point of view.
Yeah, why don't you have him give me a call?
Yeah, it would just
I'd
be a
appreciate
phone
that.
call.
That way I can kind of get a idea of what would be involved
That's
there.
right. And then when you talk to authority, at least you'll have some understanding and background. So,
Perfect.
okay.
That
And I
works.
think, John, right, I voted to initiate, so, like, if we go forward, we're gonna need a cost.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well, and I can kind of talk with him a little bit about
Yeah.
to what degree,
Yeah.
how many hours would be
Yeah.
involved,
Yeah.
all that. and We can kind of get it in ballpark then.
Moving on, the next item is somewhat related, the Municipal Authority Joint Search Committee appointment. So we had a meeting with the municipal authority and some of the supervisors, just to kind of iron out, sounds like there's been a long time where the two boards really didn't interact probably as much as they should have, and the discovery of these lines that maybe belong better in the hands of them and such. And the other item to be discussed in that is Scott Galbraith, our longtime Public Works Director and municipal authority leader there, is, approaching retirement. So we're looking to assemble a committee made up of a supervisor, township manager, and a representative of the municipal authority, if my memory serves me correctly there, to put a plan together for his replacement.
So do we need a motion to form that committee, or?
Well, did you guys want to name a person to step up to the plate there? I mean, we have
So
plenty
I
of
kind
time
of
here.
think there maybe was like twofold there. I thought we talked about a representative, basically a supervisor's liaison to attend the sewer authority meetings in general, and then someone to sit on that committee.
Yeah. I had this more for
The committee.
For the committee, because you guys kind of already, I mean, it's.
It would, I
Well-
don't think it would be, when you say committee, a committee for
Basically Scott's replacement.
Scott's replacement. So it wouldn't be a formal appointment, it would just be one
Or
of the
search
board members
committee.
that want to be
Okay.
part of the group.
Okay,
that
so we don't need to
sits
make a
down.
motion, is what?
Not at this point, I don't, unless you foresee.
The problem is we can't discuss that outside of here, which one of us wants to be on it. I mean, this is personnel matter.
Personnel's executive session, but, I mean, if one of you, are you gonna be involved in it, I suspect?
I will be involved in
And
it.
someone from the authority?
Yes,
most
and I
likely?
haven't heard who that was because I wasn't privy to some of the meetings, so nobody has come back and talked with me about it, so.
And one of the board members, so who it is, it's up to you. I don't know, do you need to, I'm suspecting you're gonna be advertising.
I would think so. I think that it might be a little early to be doing that, but I think that we need to.
Well, we anticipate the need of a large overlap, just some of the numbers that were thrown out is, 6 to 12 months of overlap, so Scott's 18 months to go here, so.
So I guess what's the intent of this committee? Is it to simply go through the resumes you get and then sit down for maybe the initial interviews?
I
Or
think
is it more of a?
I think the intent is to establish the timeline,
Okay.
one, and then, yes, basically a standard hiring process.
Okay, then if the two of you want to determine which one of you want to do it, or if you want to wait until your work session, so Faith's in the conversation as well.
Well, and that was my question, whether it has to be, I mean, not that it's some kind of big secret, but since she's not
No.
here, if it doesn't have to be discussed here,
Yeah.
figure out who wants to do it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I'd be glad to
Unless-
nominate either one of you.
I'm really not interested, because the second part of that was a liaison, and I did agree to that in the meeting,
To be the,
because apparently I'm the crap expert, I don't know, but I agreed to attend the authority meetings, and I did one already, it was very, very productive, so.
okay.
So you guys want me to put this on the agenda for the workshop, or?
Put it on the agenda for the workshop, but quite frankly, if,
I think as it develops, and if and when they do meet before that, I mean, I'm sure you guys can work out who you want to sit in,
yeah,
and then just update everyone at the
I
workshop.
think the important thing is we're putting together a committee
Yeah.
to
Right.
figure out Scott's replacement.
I think Faith will do great at it.
Yeah, me too.
you know, you have majority here, you could all automatically volunteer.
I'm not doing that. I'm smarter than that, John.
So, some old business, item number 1, transition of optional employees 457 retirement plan to the Voya plan. John?
So, when I first started, there was movement already where new employees to the township would not be on the existing pension plan. There was a new defined contribution plan that was set up. With that, I am the sole individual that will be participating at this point in time. And when we looked into the plan, one of the things that we looked at, and we sat down with the supervisors with RJ Hall, who oversee all the pension plans, and we questioned them about, well, is Principal the best plan that's out there, or are there other plans that would be beneficial? They made a recommendation that it used to be ING, they converted over to Voya, that their plan is a little bit more progressive, and from a cost standpoint, it benefits the employees better because it's not as costly for them. And I'll just use something as an illustration. This isn't exact, but put in $100 into your pension plan, and 95 goes in, and there's $5 for fees. Under Voya, it's going to be not as expensive, maybe $97 is in there. In comparing apples to apples, they both deliver the services and things like that that are similar. So ultimately, the Board of Supervisors agreed with setting up with Voya for the pension plan for myself. I got thinking about this, and we kind of talked about it a little bit more. I was like, hold on, I don't want anybody to think there's favoritism for me, and it was a very awkward position where I was kind of negotiating a little bit my own benefits. But I looked at the 457 and we said, you know what, it would be on the same platform, so why not get those employees that wish to participate, get that on the same platform, and that's kind of what this motion's all about. I've also been talking with the RJ Hall individuals, and they're also looking at exploring the pension plans, the big non-uniform as well as the police plans also to convert over. Again, it's a cost-saving mechanism too. So first things first was the purpose of changing over and converting. I think there's 10 employees that are currently participating in this. It's a voluntary, using their own funds to put in there. It's like if you go out there and do an IRA on your own, but this is a supplemental pension plan through the township.
Any discussion?
No, I think that, I think you described it well. I just wanted to make sure people understood that that means more of your money goes to you.
Yes, absolutely.
And I mean, I think that's really where we're, so, and I didn't perceive much of a conflict since you're the first person not on the defined benefit. So you're in a unique situation. I think,
I want it consistent, I want it fair,
Thank you.
I don't want any negative perception. So again, I think this works out timing-wise and works well for
I make a motion that we transition the 457 retirement plan to Voya.
I'll second that motion. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Lindell Development revised specifications. I think I know pretty much about this one here, so I'll run through it and everybody can put some input. Looks like the sewer trench detail carried over from another plan calling for all 2A backfill. Being in this business, I can tell you that it happens all the time and doesn't get discovered until the construction. Based on Ritu's letter dated May 20th, I'd recommend that we approve their request to modify the specifications.
I make a motion that we modify the specifications pursuant to Ritu's.
I'll second that motion. Any discussion? Any input, Frank, there? Seemed pretty straightforward.
No, you did a good job in summarizing it.
Hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. John has developed a 2021 budget calendar, which will be extremely helpful in seeing us through the process as far as what all needs to be discussed and how far we have to go. Anything to discuss there, John?
Not really. What I'll do is I'll put it out on the website so everybody kind of see it, but basically just so that you understand, we'll be meeting on the workshops and we'll be going over different funds. July 29th, we'll be going over the street light, fire hydrant, traffic signal, stormwater, MS4, and the Stowe No Fund. August 26th, the fire tax fund, 04, the recreation fund, 07, sewer district 08 for Mount Gretna, capital reserve in the net, highway liquid fuels, and the operating reserve fund 95. We'll probably have the lawn and the Campbelltown Fire Company at the August 26 meetings with their requests. I'll be talking with each of them about that, and I'll be sending documentation out to each of those entities so they have a historical perspective of what was requested and received in the past. September 23rd, we'll be starting the general fund with all the revenues. Police and Public Works and the K-9 fund will also be talked about, but the Public Works and Police, they'll be presenting at that meeting. October 28th, we'll be finishing up the general fund. And November the 16th, I'm sorry, we'll be advertising the proposed 2021 budget for public inspection, because hopefully by that point in time we have everything pretty much gathered and it's starting to take shape and form. And then November 25th, all the funds for the final review. Hopefully at that point in time we'll be including the Sewer 2 Fund 09 for the authority. And December the 8th at the Board of Supervisors meeting, a motion will be to adopt and approve the 2021 budget. So that is the plan. If everything works according to plan, that would be wonderful, so we don't have to go later in the year and have special other meetings to meet on. So I'll put this out on the website so everybody can take a look at it then.
Sounds good. Last item on old business, the Mount Gretna sewer rates. This is the one related to the increase we received from the Mount Gretna Authority for the flow that goes there. And this is what kind of brought the situation to light of the lines out there that are owned by the township versus the authority. I mean, I don't know about you, Bill, but based on the discussion with the unknown there, I think we just let this ride for now, but unless you have a strong opinion otherwise.
I do not.
It's my understanding there's,
Sufficient funds
to cover the shortfall, and especially given the economic times we're in, it's fairly minimal.
So to make it clear to the public, there was a 5% increase this year that the Mount Gretna Authority passed on to us. We have not passed that on to the citizens, and the question there was, well, should we? And that created a whole dialogue of what's our role? What's the role of the municipal authority? So there's enough funding in that 5% can be handled. It's just that there's not a lot that will be banked away for in case the terracotta line, the cast iron, the infrastructure, any of those issues, something happens on it. So.
And the largest reason we didn't want to pass it, we had no prior knowledge of the increase, so the residents weren't given, the ratepayers there were given any type of notice, so.
And I think you're right, Jack, given the uncertainty right now, and hopefully, moving forward, things will go well, but I think we also know we're gonna have to deal with whatever is found up there, so.
Moving on. We're going to have a short executive session afterwards for a personnel matter. Is there any good in welfare?
I have one thing, hopefully, the police are out, dealing with traffic. See a lot of crowds gathering at Annie's and whatnot, and a lot of people seem to have forgotten how to drive. But I mean, I think people were used to empty roads, and they're not so empty anymore, so.
Yes.
Hopefully
We actually got our grant from the state and federal level doubled because there's some departments that aren't back to normal with their citizen contacts and enforcement. So we got twice the grant money to use, and that's going on right now.
For the record, I'm not suggesting we give, like, yeah, more tickets, but I am suggesting we let people know that there are, that they understand that, you know.
Hearing nothing further, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.